Hello everybody, happy Monday. Thank you for joining me today. We are back with our wine adventures. So, as was popularly requested 2 weeks ago when we last met, was that we should do a Bloom special. Oh, I just realised I'm on the wrong screen. There you go, there's the plan. I'm having an array of all sorts of fun technical challenges today, so for reasons beyond my comprehension, OBS does not want to let you see my desktop. So I have a multitude of window captures going on. It's all good. We've got a plan. But if we have a bit of swapping around, or I'm talking about something and you can't see it, just shout in chat and that will remind me to switch to the right scene. Anyway, right, yes, so popular requests. Last time we met 2 weeks ago was let's have a play with Bloom. So I think we may have done something with Bloom a good few weeks, months ago, but you know, now's a good time as any to have another play with Bloom. So I haven't planned anything in particular, so if you've got any particular questions, let me know. But what I thought we could do is just explore the wine data as it is within Bloom. And what I will do, for those of you who are a bit new to Bloom, we can use this as a bit of an opportunity as well to just understand how do we get set up in Bloom. And I can show you a few other sort of bits and pieces and tricks and whatnot. So that's the plan. If you've got any questions, let me know. So just pop them in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on that. Otherwise, one thing I'll say, I do apologise. I haven't yet done the week 14 update. So for those of you who were around 2 weeks ago, so week 14, what we did was we had a look at the provinces and regions, and we were thinking about what we were going to do with those. So I will write that up soon. So give me a day or so and I will get that written up and we can look at that as well. Hello to Bebes. Thank you for joining me today. And well, hello to everybody. I think last time we did a warm-up, didn't we, where we said what was your favourite grape variety. So somebody chucked in Shiraz. We can do that again. You know, if you want to express your favourite grape variety, do it. Otherwise, actually, yeah, let's do that. This is going to be fun for Bloom. If you're watching, pop in your favourite grape variety for wine or favourite flavour or aroma. So if you like the smell of cherries or apples or something like that, or if you want to say where you're based, so if you want to say what country you're in, pop it in the chat and then maybe we can use that as some of our Bloom queries. Anyway, so Bloom was popularly requested, so what we're going to do is just have a play with Bloom. So I'll talk through Bloom. If you're not sure what it is, if you've not used it before, don't worry. We can treat it as an introductory journey through it as well, and we'll have some fun with it too. So I've waffled on enough. Let's get cracking. So I've just got to switch my scenes. Okay, so Bloom. What is Bloom? Bloom is a visualization tool, and what it tries to do is it tries to make it easy to explore your data. And what it's doing is it allows you to use near natural language to query things. So rather than having to write some Cypher, which, you know, Cypher is pretty cool, but if you're just starting out, you're not quite sure of the syntax, or if you're like me and sometimes I'm just feeling uber lazy and I know I can just string together some words in Bloom, it's a really great quick way of being able to explore your data without having to, you know, write a bunch of queries. So we'll have a look at that in a second. So as you can see, if you start up Bloom, so you've got either Bloom on Sandbox. If you're completely new to Neo4j and you've never used it before and you want to have a dabble, we've got Sandbox. And if you hang around, one of the bots is going to ping the Sandbox address so you can see that. So just keep an eye on the chat and the bot will go and go, hey, here's your address. So you've got Sandbox. You don't need to download anything, you don't need to install anything, and you can have a dabble with Neo4j. And what you'll find on some of the sandboxes, so the blank sandbox, I believe, as well as the graph data science sandbox and as Bloom sandbox, all of them have Bloom installed on them. So either you can sort of have a play whilst we're doing the session, or maybe later you want to have a go. You can go off, have a play with Bloom, and you don't have to install anything. So that's one way you can use Bloom. Another way you can use Bloom is if you download Neo4j Desktop. So that's what I'm using, so that's the version I'm using here. You get Bloom in there straight away. So you can use Bloom and have a play on desktop. You've got a Bloom server, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but that's if you want to download the plugin and run Bloom in browser, and there's a bunch of useful features that come with that. I'm not going to cover that. And if you're using or having a play with Neo4j Aura, so that's our cloud instance, you've got Bloom available there too. So I'm going to be using the Bloom graph app that's available on Neo4j Desktop. And when you start Bloom for the first time, you are greeted with this screen. So let me just quickly remind you, if we just jump back over to browser, and quick reminder, this is what we've got in there so far. I've not done all of the work on provinces and whatever else, so we'll do that. Maybe we even do that today during this session. Don't know. See how the mood takes us. But we've got a quick reminder of that. So if I bring up a schema, just as a quick reminder to see what we've got. So we have got, sorry, this is a bit on the small side. I was having fun trying to set up OBS quickly. But there we go. So as a quick reminder, this is what we've got. So we have got wine, the centre of our universe, the wine. The wine has got a designation, which wasn't particularly useful information. From week 6, I think we looked at that. But wine has from a winery, which is in a province, in a country. Wine's got variety. So if you've got your grape varieties, this is what we're going to be using. Variety name, we talked about that. Wine has got a price. It has got a year. It has points that's been awarded by a certain reviewer. It has a description. So again, description is what we're going to use for if you guys say, if your folks say, oh, I like apple and I like cherry, then we can use it for search. Right, we've got a question here. If Bloom is free in the desktop app, how can we get a free license for server version of Bloom? So Bloom is free on the desktop app under certain conditions. So it's for learning and sort of testing and development. So check the license agreement with desktop, and that will tell you how you can use Bloom in there. So the other thing I'll say as well is there are, I believe, I need to double check this, but there are some edge cases where you can use the server version of Bloom. So if you're under the startup license, I believe you can get that. So I'd check if you search Neo4j startup program, you'll get some information there, and I think they'll talk about how you can use Bloom there. But other than that, Bloom Server Edition is a license paid for version. So I hope that answers your question, Bayray. Hope I said that correctly. Okay, so that's what we've got in here. So we've got all this data. And so quick reminder what that looks like. So let's hop back over to Bloom. So when we start Bloom for the first time, we are greeted with this screen. And you may be going, what's a perspective? What's a perspective gallery? Don't worry, it's all going to make sense shortly. But what you do when you use Bloom, it helps you a little bit when you're using it. And it has this thing called a perspective, and what a perspective does is it allows you to tailor how you want to look at your data when you're visualizing it in Bloom. So you'll be able to do anything from deciding what node labels you want to show and don't want to show, same with the relationships, down to properties. And it gets really exciting because what we can do as well is we can put in these things called search phrases. So we'll have an example of building that. I will show you. We can put rules about, how thick relationship lines are or how big nodes are, all of this cool stuff. And you can customize this into perspective, and you can create lots of different perspectives sitting on the same database. So really flexible at what you can do. So what we're going to do, we are completely new here. We have no perspectives for this. So I'm going to press this big button that says create perspective. And we have a couple of options there. We have got generate perspective and we've got blank perspective. And I'm going to be clicking a generated perspective, but let me talk about what happens here. So for generate perspective, what happens there is it will go away and have a look at the database, and it will look at some statistics on there. So it'll do things like having a look at what labels have you got in use, what relationship types are you using, it will go away and go, right, well, you commonly have these properties with these node labels and these relationship types and so forth. And then it goes, right, okay, I'm now going to auto generate a perspective for you. I will auto color labels for you. I will auto color, it doesn't auto color relationships, but I'll pull all this stuff in. And what it'll do is it'll pick, for example, what labels there should be on your node, and it'll go, you've got a property called name, so you probably are going to have that as your label, and so forth. So it tries to do a bunch of stuff for you to make it easier so that you can get started with Bloom as quickly as possible. Blank perspective, as the name suggests, gives you a complete clean slate, and then you have to do all those details yourselves. But I'm going to pick generate perspective. I don't think I've ever selected a blank perspective. I've always used generate perspective, and then I just go in there and tailor it according to my likes. So as you can see, I've done this, and you can see we are greeted by lots of different coloured categories here, different coloured labels. And there you go, there's my perspective. I could probably give this a more sensible name. I don't think graph database perspective 1 is particularly descriptive. Probably a bit of blame on me because I've not given the database a name, so it's just gone, graph database, that'll do. So I'm going to rename it, and what you can do is if you click on the three buttons, which I discovered is called the hamburger menu fairly recently. Yes, I know, terrible. I'm sure everybody knows that. I'm late to the party there, but I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to change this to Adventures with Wine, because it is Adventures with Wine. There we go. I'm going to press the tick, and that's going to save the name. And you'll see when I float over the labels, it says use perspective. So let's use the perspective. Okay, so when I do this, this is Bloom. This is what it looks like. And you'll notice we have got all of our nodes here. So these are all node labels. So in Bloom, they call these the categories, a node category. So pretty much most of the time, node label, node category is synonymous, but you do have options where you can rename a node label to something else. So that's why you have the differentiation there. So it doesn't make changes to the database. It's just making the change visually within Bloom. So you can see here, I've got all the names. You've got these different things here. If I click on relationships, it shows me all of the relationships that I have here. And what you can do as well, which we haven't got to yet, but it'll even tell you what's showing when we run a query. If actually, you know what? Let me start sticking some data in, and then afterwards I'm going to talk through the different bits going on. So again, if you've got any questions, fire them in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on those, and we can have a look. So what I'm going to do to begin with is I am going to what I want to do now is I'm going to click on here, and it's going to suggest stuff to me, and it's suggesting country. So yeah, go on then, let's do that. I'm going to click on country. I can press enter to run my query, and it brings me back all the country nodes. And if I zoom in, there we go, we've got the names. And you're going to go, but hang on a minute, I didn't specify any names. How does it know the names? Well, it knows the names because, as I mentioned before, if you've got any properties on your nodes with things like name on there, or it includes name, I think, I can't remember exactly, but there's a common set of property key names which Bloom will go, you probably want this one to display. So if you recall, I don't know how well you remember the data model for the wine data set, but we do have the property of name on country. So it's picked that, and there we go. So you can see that we're looking at all the names. Brilliant. So what I can do here, and again, I've not typed anything yet. I just clicked on country and pressed enter. So let's, you know what? Something's grabbed my attention straight away. So China. So what I can do is I can click on a node. And when I click on a node, you can see it's got that white line around it. So you can see that it's been selected. And if we have a quick look over here, you can see it tells us how many nodes are currently on display. And if I click in scene, so this thing here, what we can see with the nodes showing, that's called the scene in Bloom. So there you go, that's the scene. So in scene is referring to all the nodes that are currently in scene that have been called in the query and are now visible to us. And off scene that'll be everything that's not being displayed. So you can see countries on the scene, so countries not here. So there you go, all good so far. And you can see we've got 44 nodes. And what I can do, because China's caught my attention, I'm going to do a bit of exploring. So I apologise if I skip back and forth with the anatomy of Bloom and then we do a query and another bit of anatomy. So I think hopefully this makes more sense. And rather than me throwing the anatomy, you all trying to remember what I've said and then going through it. We'll step through like this slowly. So China's caught my eye. I don't think we've done much research around the wine of China, have we? So what I'm going to do, you'll see if I right click, I'll get this menu and I've got some options here. Now I'm very interested in the expand node, but for now, I just want to look at the China node. So what I can do, I have a couple of options. If I click dismiss, that's going to get rid of the China node, but I want to keep the China node because that's the one I'm going to be analysing. So I'm going to do dismiss other nodes, and everything that isn't selected, so anything that doesn't have a white circle around it, is going to go. So let me just quickly show you. So I can select more than one node. So I'm sorry, Mac users, I don't know what the shortcut is for that offhand, but on Windows, if I want to select multiple nodes, I just press and hold down the control key, and then I just click. And there we go, I can click a bunch of nodes. Another option I can do to select multiple nodes is I can use the Lasso Tool. So to do that, I click the mouse and hold it down for a few seconds. And then if I move the mouse, I then get the selection box. And like this, it's going to select some nodes for me. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. So if I right click on my collected nodes and I want to dismiss all the other nodes, it's going to keep up the 4 that I've selected. But I'm only interested in the China node. I was just quickly showing you how we can do so I'm going to right click and dismiss the other node. So just want to look on the China node. Got a quick question here. Where does Bloom's data get stored on the database? Can these perspectives be shared amongst team members? Great question. So if I recall correctly, the perspectives for Bloom that you are running on desktop, it stores the perspective data in the database. If you want to share perspectives, and you have to use the Bloom server version. So with the server version of Bloom, you can share perspectives around and you can do various permissionings and things on there. So those are the features you can have. I believe, can we do limited sharing with this? Let me have a look. One moment. Okay, so I can export a perspective. So I can export it. Let's see, can I import it from it? I think this is a Bloom server, so there's been a couple of changes with this. So let me have a look. Oh, we can import perspective. Okay, so maybe I'm going to break everything now, aren't I? Let's have a look at that in a bit. So we'll have a play with the perspective stuff and then we'll have a look. I don't think we can import it, but I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. So we'll have a go at it. That's the best way, I think. Well, one of the best ways we can test this is we'll have a go later to see what we can do with it. So let's go back to this for now, and then we will have a play with the import and export later. So let me just jot that down so I do not forget. Again, any other requests, pipe them in and we will have a go with them. Okay, right, so let's do a bit of exploring. So China, I want to know what wine China does. So we've got some options here. I can right click on China and you can see this magic expand button, and I'm going to go crazy and click all. But what you will find is this will expand out one hop. So what would happen if there's more than one relationship type? So if you remember our data model, we had country to province, province to winery, winery, I think it was, province, winery, then winery to wine. So we know there's only one relationship from country, so it's only going to list one here. But if we had more, it lists all of them down. So when we have a go at this, you'll see we'll have that. So I could do all, and this one, they'll do the same thing because there's only one. So let's go crazy, let's do all. What I can do as well is if I double click on the node, then you get this preview drawer pops up. And this is super helpful because this can give us information about our node. So I've double clicked on this node here and it tells us it's got a property called name. It's the only property we have on there. So when we look at some of the other nodes where we've got more than one property, you'll see all of them listed out. We can have a look at what relationships comes off of that node. So you can hear we've just got the one relationship to province and neighbours. We can get information about neighbours and their properties. So province only has one property as well. And you can see we're spotting that province, region, country issue where some of the provinces are countries, some of the regions are provinces and so forth. But that was last time's issue, which we're going to fix soon. But for now, we are focusing on Bloom. So you can see what's going on. So, okay, we've got that. And let's say, well, actually, I want to go further. I want to go to next one along. So remember, this is the winery. And we only have one winery. So I assume we've only got one. Oh, do we only have one wine from China? You know, stuff like this, I want to go off and now try Chinese wine. I'm intrigued, absolutely intrigued. Okay, so we've got the winery, and I can double click, and again we'll have the name for the winery. I can right click on here, and I can expand again. And we have brought the wine. So there we go. So you can see how that's one way we've been able to just keep click and expand without having to write things. So I still haven't written anything. I've written no Cypher, and I'm doing some investigation about Chinese wine. So again, if I double click on this node, because we've got more than one property, not that many more, but we've got the unique identifier for that wine, and we've got the title for that wine. And what's interesting now is, if you remember, wine is the centre of our universe, so we've got multiple relationships coming off of wine. So when I go here, you can see, I apologise, this is a bit on the small side. But you can see here, we've got all of these different relationship types. So we've got all of these. So you can see we've got taster. So you get information about taster. We've got the winery. We've got the blend, Cabernet blend, all that evil blend word. We'll have to have a look at the description to see if we've got anything going on in there. We've got the designation, Noble Dragon. We've got the wine group and the year. And we've got the description. Actually, you know what? I want to know a bit more about the description. So what I can do is I can double click on description. Did you see in the background how it automatically popped that node out? Cool, eh? So it's popped out that node. And what we can do as well is we can now look at the information. So here we can look at the description for this node. So here we go. There we go. So this is what I was saying, if you've got any favourites, like fruit aromas or something to have a look at. Bacon. Oh my goodness. I think that's the first time I've seen bacon used in a description for wine. Why not? Haven't had bacon in years. So there we go. We've got descriptions. So you see that? I haven't done anything, and we've found a wine that you've got in China. So that's super cool. So we did this by expanding nodes, and again I can click back on wine. Maybe I want to have a look at some of the other neighbours. What do you mean, shame on me? What did I do? Oh, in fact, the bacon. I've been vegetarian for a few years now. I've not had any bacon in a while. I'm going to say something highly controversial. I don't miss bacon. Fact. Corn bacon's pretty good actually. If I fancy something smoky, corn bacon, really nice. But there we go. I digress. And we go, oh, hang on a minute. Oh, it's got 89 points. So let's click on that. Let's do a bit of investigation on the points. So again, you noticed I double clicked on that node and it's brought it up. So I'm going to close this. And if you recall, with our data model, we had the same group of points with so any wines reviewed by the same person, if it had the same number of points, they're connected to that node. So I think it's only fair to find out what other wines have been given 89 points by whoever's reviewed this. So let's have a look. Let's expand the reviewer. Do you see there? We've got multiple relationships. So I can now find out who's rated that wine. So let's click on rate wine. So Michael de Simone has rated this wine. So what other wines has he rated 89? Oh, 89 other wines also got a rating of 87. Let's go crazy. Let's expand them all. Oh my goodness, look at that. So give me 2 seconds. Let me just quickly adjust this because I don't think I'm doing it. I'm quite keen to make sure this is visible, but this might be, I may have gone a little bit on the extreme. What's up, Senators? You're not able to see this okay? Have we got technical issues already? Ooh, I wait with bated breath what's happened whilst I continue. Actually, I'm going to leave it this size for now. It's fine. If you've got a nice big monitor, I've made this really tiny. Oh, go on, let's make it a little bit bigger. 2 seconds. Let me just make this a bit bigger so you can see all this exciting stuff going on. Oh, I've got to love this exciting live stuff. So let me just quickly zoom this down. Oh wait, look, there we go. Let's do it justice. And let me just make this a bit wider. There we go. Hopefully you can still see that okay. Excellent. Right, there we go. So if the text is too small, do shout and I'll make it bigger. Okay, so look at that. So we've got 89. So all of these wines, and we might go, well, actually, we're going to zoom in on the wines. Let's get rid of all the other stuff that I've been drilling down. Let's get rid of that. So what I can do is if I click here, notice all of the wine nodes, all of the nodes in blue have been selected. And what I can do now is I'm going to right click on one of those and I'm going to dismiss other nodes. I just want those wines. There you go. Look at that. Again, still haven't typed a single bit of code yet, haven't typed anything, and I've now pulled up. I started off looking at China. I've then found the wine that came from China. I saw it got a score of 89 points. So I then wanted to see all the other wines that have been rated 89 points by the person who reviewed that wine. Brought them back. So this is cool. And what I can do now is I can right click and expand as an example. And just to confirm that they've all been rated by the same person, I can do this. And you can see the giveaway there. It says 1 node. I can do this. There we go. We brought Mike back. Pretty neat, eh? And what else do we want to find out? So these are all the wines that scored 89 points. So we're going to clear the scene. So remember this here, this is where we've got these nodes. This is the scene. And if I right click on a clear bit of the scene, I can do clear scene. And that clears everything. There you go. All gone. So I think it's time to do a bit of typing. So I showed you how we started with country. We found China because, again, I didn't even think, there'd be lots of wine production in China. So we investigated and we had a look. We could have done this another way. And what I could have done is I could have just written China. And what happens, because a little bit more detail. So when you create a perspective in Bloom, it does that analysis in the database. Remember I was saying it goes off and has a look at the database and does some stuff. And one of the things it does, it'll go off and have a look what indexes you've got. So it will use indexes that you've set. And if you remember, we've got an index on country, we've got index on province, we've got an index on wine ID, not the title, but maybe we might change that. I think we've got index and variety name and so forth. So I don't have to do match C : country where name, C.name equals China. I literally just write China. And then Bloom goes, do you mean China the province? There you go, it's that province problem. Or do you mean China the country? I mean China the country. So I can click on that. And this is a new feature in Bloom 1.4, is it will try and continue to keep completing your phrase. So, well, okay, let's go to province. And you see how it keeps suggesting where we can keep going next. They go, well, actually, no, I want the winery as well. And actually, I want the wine. And, go on then, whilst we're going this far, let's get the taster as well. So from China, my start point, so the only thing I've written here, China, I'm now going to bring back the country whose value is China. I'm going to bring back the province, the winery of that province, the wine from that winery, and the taster who tasted that wine. Brilliant. Press enter. and oh, there it is. And there you go. And we've pretty much done exactly the same thing we did when we kept selecting the node, right clicking and doing the expand. Pretty neat, eh? So we can do the same thing as well. So let's say we want to do Mike DeSimone. We want to know the wines that he's rated 89 points. So what we can do here, I think we set indexes on taster. We're about to find out. So what I can do is I can do Mike DeSimone. There he is. And I want to know about the wines. So I'm going to be a bit more nuanced here. So I want to know about the wines that he has rated 89. So you can specify properties. Now, I can't remember what we did with points, probably not. But what we can do is I can say, I think the thing's called value. Yep, it's value. So I can say value. So I can specify property name. So this is what I want to do if I want to specify a specific property that I want to do my bloom investigation on. 89, so that was the Chinese wine. And I want to know which wine's got that, so I can then just do, actually, I think this is when I do actually have to type and say what I want the wine. So I just put in W and he goes, aha, right, you're finished, you want to do wine. So I click on that and that's it, that's all I want. So I'm going to press enter to run that. And there you go, there are all of those 88 wines that Mike gave a result value of 89 points. Cool. So what other fun things can we do? So what we can do as well is, and this is just to give you an idea of like the really powerful thing we can do. So let's bring back country again. Let's bring back a couple of countries. And another cool thing we can do is we can do shortest path between a couple of countries. So let's pick 2 random countries. Let's go, you know what, I can see England, so let's do England. And I'm going to pick Bulgaria, why not? So I'm going to pick those 2 countries and I'm going to clear everything else. I'm going to right click and clear the other nodes. And what you'll see on the right click is when you select 2 nodes, and it's only 2 nodes, you will find an option under path, which is shortest path. Now bear in mind this can be anything, and it will just pick a shortest path and bring it back. So let's do that. And there's so many ways you can have 2 shortest paths. So things that we might have, let's bring back the data model and let's think about what things might bring the shortest path. So we may have shortest path via price. So if you think we're doing 2 countries, so where's country here? I've lost country, there we go. So I think we looked and there were no countries that had the same name province. So what is going to result in our shortest path? So it may be country, so it's always going to go via wine because wine is the center of our universe. So it may, actually no, it may go up to winery and back down again. So we'll have a look to see if we can find any countries, winery with more than 1 country. So it may go up to country, back down from winery. We may go up to country to wine and then back down via variety or variety name. We may go up to country, up to wine, and we may come back by price. We may go up to wine, we may come back by taster or points via taster. Definitely not coming back up from description, but we may come back down from description word, because remember we tokenized description word, so that'd be interesting. So let's see, we've got a quick question here. Bayray 2014 Kevin is asking, find the 19x wines that were rated with 100 points and what variety it gave. Can you find it without using tasted by relationship? Ooh, interesting. Right, so we can't do that out of the box with Bloom, but let's keep that to one side because I can give you an example of how we can write a search phrase. So what we can do is we can, if there's a query that we're going to run all the time and we want to parameterize it. So let's say, taking your query, Kevin. So let's say we want to parameterize wines from a certain year that got a certain number of points, and then we want to return the taster and the wine title. It could be an example. So what we can do is we can create these things called search queries. So we write a Cypher query for that. We give it a sensible name, and we have, like, you know, the arguments someone spent. So our query could be called, well, there we go. Maybe we're going to take your query, Kevin, and we're going to turn that into a search phrase. So you've done some of the hard work for me there. Brilliant, thank you. So we'll take that. I'm going to show you what we can do with that, because we could call that query, which is find me wines from X that scored Y. So hold that thought. We'll come there in a second. Let me show you the shortest path, and then we can explore the other bits and pieces. But that would be good fun to do that. Okay, so let me switch back over to Bloom. So let's do the shortest path. So, I'm curious to see where it's going to pull the shortest path. Oh, look at that. Okay, so Bloom has found one of the shortest paths between Bulgaria and England is, drumroll if you please. So we're going through, unsurprisingly, we are going through province, and then we're going to winery. So obviously, I think the likelihood of them having the same winery was pretty slim and none. But you can see, there we go, we can see what the link is. And they've been linked by wine year. So there you go. So look, we've got country, province, winery, wine. They've both got wine from 2010. So then back out again, wine, winery, province, country. So there you go, shortest path. So here maybe not particularly useful, but if you're looking at certain things, like if you've got like networking stuff that you're looking at in Bloom, then you probably just want to find shortest path, and that can be super useful. So there's a bit of fun with that. So that's shortest path. So let's do a bit of fun with this. Another thing you can do as well, and I've done like a video on this, and I've written a blog post, but what you can do is you can look for cardinality in Bloom using patterns. I don't have to write any fancy Cypher, I can do this in Bloom. So you know how I spoke about, let me switch back over here. So you know how I spoke about we might have a situation where a winery has more than one country, so maybe they're getting grapes from different countries, or it's one of these massive companies that's that've got different things, or maybe we've got countries with the same named winery. Who knows? But we can find that, and I'm going to show you how we do that. I'm going to use a pivot pattern for that. So let me clear the scene, and we're going to do it like this. We're going to do country, province, winery, province, country. So let me explain what's going on here. So we're saying we're going to country, and we know that there's going to be a one-to-one relationship between country and province. Fine. Then we go to province and winery. So this is where we're going to start bringing back multiple things of. So a winery may belong to more than one province. Totally possible. So you think about some of these really big wineries like Hardy's or Wolfblass, or I can't think of any Californian ones off the top of my head. But you think of these, and they've probably got they've probably got vineyards all over the shop in a region somewhere. So they could have more than one province. And then so effectively we go up to there. So we may bring back multiple provinces that belong to the same country. We may even get wineries that are linked to different countries. And that could be either that this is where my knowledge of wineries is my not particularly extensive knowledge of wineries is running out, but maybe the winery's got locations in more than one country, or it could be that we've got countries that have got the same named winery. So let's see what happens, and press enter. Let's see what comes back. Oh my goodness, and it brought back a lot of nodes. So it could well be that we have quite a lot that fit this pattern. And you notice it says all 1,000. There could well be more. And you have an option within Bloom. So if you click the little cog here, you have a node query limit of 1,000, and I could make this bigger. Oh, let's live life dangerously. I'm going to put up to 2,700. So if I rerun this query, I think it's going to bring back more nodes, isn't it? Let's see what happens. Oh, look at that. So we've got 18,000, loads. Oh, I'll see you later, mukbang. Enjoy your dinner. Hope it goes well. Cornbread. Oh, cornbread with a bit of red wine. That'd be lovely. Okay, so you can see what we've brought back. So we've got like many nodes here. But let's zoom in into this craziness that we've got going on, and let's see what's going on. Actually, I'm going to do myself a favour. I am going to limit this because I think that's too many. Let's wind this right down to about 200 and see what happens. Okay, let's clear the scene. No, I didn't want to do that. It's all good. Clear the scene. And let's try again. Let's run this and see what happens. There we go, it's a little bit more. That's a little bit less crazy, don't you think? Alright, so if we zoom in, we have got... Let's pull out Portugal. So here, I can only see one orange node. So I think we've got the situation here where you've got a winery that's based across many different provinces. So there we go, look at this. You've got this Casa Santos Lima. Look at that. It is, look, all of these different provinces it's based in. So there you go. So you've got an example here of loads of different provinces belonging to a region. So let's have a look at this other blob that we had. Oh, this is exciting. So I can see lots of oranges going on here. So maybe we have found something with multiple countries. So that's only got one coming out of there. So I'm just looking for anything that's got more than one arrow coming out of it, which this one does. That's more than one province. Oh my goodness. So let's take a punt on one of these. So let's try oh my goodness. The only thing is that I'm wondering whether these are multiple provinces to wineries and we don't have one's country. Oh, maybe, you know what? I'm going to leave it there. You get the principle of what's going on. So you can see what we can do here. And we might do a Cypher job on this. Might be a good example of another stored procedure. But anyway, okay, you get the idea there. So let me clear all of this. So I think now it's a good time to start talking about what else we can do with this. So let me click on here. So if you see I've clicked on this button here, and what this will do, this will bring up all of the various settings that we can do for our perspective. And if you see here, we've got all of our node labels, which as I mentioned before, they're called categories, because what I can do is I can change the name of that. If I don't like winery, if I want to change it to something else, I can... Oh, no, I've changed that. So you used to be able to edit that. Okay, a slight change, but I can choose a different label for this. So if you've got nodes with multiple labels on there, you can pick which one you want it to list under in Bloom. You will notice here as well, so I've only got one property on here, so this isn't the greatest example, but you can see it's auto selected a caption there for us. So I believe wine had two properties on it. So you can see I've got the title selected here. So again, title is one of those words, magical words that Bloom's looking for on property key names, so that you can go, right, that's probably what you want to display. You probably don't want to display ID because it's going to be a bunch of numbers or a GUID or something like that. So you can see that. So you can select all of these things. And as an example, I could select ID. So let's just pick a random wine. Oh, it's going to bring back so many wines. That's okay. So let me just bring back a wine. And as an example, you can see there, it's put the ID in there. So 217, so forth. So, and if I go back here and go, no. ID, that's a crazy idea. I don't want that on the caption. I can come back, you see it's removed it. So that's cool. So you can see how you can cater that and change that to what makes the most sense for you. You can also choose to exclude stuff as well. So let me do wine again. So if I double click on a wine, it's going to bring back our pane. So you can see it shows me the ID and the title. And if I decide, you know what, for a nice user experience, I don't really want to show them the ID. The ID is meaningless. It means nothing to them. It means something to me. That's what I used when I was importing my data. But anybody exploring the wine, it doesn't mean anything. So I could choose to exclude that. So if I click on that exclude, and I come back, you'll notice it's disappeared here. So you can see how you can start to customize this and make it really user friendly. Another really cool thing we can do as well, I'm going to put the ID back on because it might be useful to us at some point. So another thing we can do as well, which is super cool, is you can go, oh, actually, I want to give this, I want to make this cool, and it's nice to look at the title, but maybe I want to be able to see at a glance very quickly that this is a wine node. And an option that you have is you can change the colour. So if you don't like blue, I'm perfectly happy with blue, so I'm going to leave it. But you can see you can pick different colours if you're that way inclined. You can click on size and go, well, actually, I want for my wine nodes, I want them to be little nodes or I want them to be big nodes. You can do that too. So you can customise the size as well. And another really cool thing you can do too is you click on this icon button and you can give it a picture. So let's have a look what we've got for wine. Do we have anything under wine? Oh, look at that. We have a bottle. Oh, this one. This one's better. I prefer this better. There we go. So I can select an icon. And if I have come back, look at that. I've now got a really cool icon. And if I zoom, if I zoom in or zoom out, you can see that if you display lots of stuff, I can immediately see, oh, that's my wine. That's my wine node. That's pretty neat. Another really cool thing we can do as well is we can do custom things. If I click back on here, you notice we've got this option here that says rules based. And we can add some particular rules. And we can base this on a property. So this one's probably not a good example of what we can do on the wine, but one that might make sense is, let me expand these. I'm going to select all of them. And let me expand the points. So what we could see, we've got everything in grey. These are the points that the reviewers gave the wines. I don't know what would be a good icon for this, doesn't matter. But what we can do for this is I can put a rule on and I can say, so if you remember, we were doing the points for the wine. So there were scores from 0 to 100. But when we actually did this, we discovered that the lowest scoring wine we had in our data was 80 points. And the highest scoring wine was 100 points. And what we could do is you say, well, actually, I want to have a visual indication on points. And if it scored 80 points, I want to give it a small node. And if it scored 100 points, I want to give it a big node. Why not? So I can save my time and just be interested in the wines with good scores. So what I can do is I can add a rule. So I can click here, add rule-based scoring, select a property key. I'm going to select value. And then what I can say here is I want to select a range for this, and I'm going to pick size. Now we know that the min point is 80, and we know that the max point is 100. And I'm going to say, well, actually, I want diddy nodes. I'm not interested in those 80s. But, if it's the good stuff, I want to make those nodes huge. So I've selected my range. I can then do this apply size. And now if I come out of this, you will, I've got to save that. Hang on, let me quickly add it again. So value, I want a range. I'm going to do it on size. My midpoint is 80, my max point is 100. I am going really crazy with the scoring. Apply the size. And okay, right, so we have added it. So I can come back out of this, and what you will see, although I think grey is not the best colour for this. Let's change the colour. I think grey is terrible. Let's go for no, we had country for orange, didn't we? Let's go for blue, but we'll go for a dark blue so we know that's associated with the wine. So let's do that. Let's give it an icon. So I don't know what we've got for rating. What would... Oh, I like this. Thumbs up, medal. What would be a good icon for this? I'm feeling very excited. Oh, That's too much choice. A star. Yeah, let's go for a star. I think this one. Yeah, why not? There you go. Right. So what you can see is, and you can see we've kind of got a reasonably good mix of, because they're all around the 80s. But you kind of get the idea here what's going on. We can see the different sized wines. So let me clear this, and let's pick. This is when I discover I've put it as. No, I haven't. Okay, that's fine. So let's do. Was it points? Was the name of our? It was points. Value 80. And let's get the wine as well for that one. And let's return that. And then let's do value 100. We're going to get a little blue. I think I should have just stuck with the points value. But you get the idea. So you can see that. There you go. We've done our conditional rule. So you can see the wines here. So you've got this wine scored 80. This wine scored 100. And you see I've done those sizes. So I can make the bigger node because it's scored better in comparison to the other one. And what we could do with a bit of fun, if we wanted to, so we could do a Cypher query. We're not going to do it now. But what I could do is I could go off and write something so that we set the property on the, so we create a new property on the wine, so we have the same rating that the wine got attached onto the wine itself, and then we can make like the wine nodes bigger and smaller. But you see that's pretty cool. That's cool. So now what we've done is we can very quickly visually go, well, I'm not touching any of this stuff because it only scored 80, but this stuff, hey, this is the good stuff. This is what I want to try. Neat, eh? Okay, so we looked at that. So we've had a look at how we can cater those and put pictures on and dynamically size the nodes. That's all good stuff. Right, Kevin, let's come back to your query. Let's do this. I think we're going to have a bit of fun with this. So let's clear the scene. And what I want to do is I'm going to create this thing called a search phrase. So let's say, well, actually, this is all fine and dandy, and I can do a lot of exploring with Bloom, but actually, there's a query that I'm going to run over and over and over again, and I want to be able to visualize it. I want to be able to double click on nodes and explore them and whatever else, but I need my base data that I'm going to bring back. So what we can do is we can create a search query. So again, we click on this button, and you notice we've got some things here. So we've got categories, so we can tailor those, have fun with that. Click on relationships, do a bit of tailoring with this as well, so we can pick which relationships we want to show, what we don't want to show. Same with the categories, we can decide that we don't want to show people description. Actually, that's a great example here. Maybe I don't want to show people description word. So what I can do is I can delete category. Let's do it. I'm going crazy here. So delete category, and that's going to get rid of description name, so description word. So that's not going to come up in my searches. If I go, oh, actually, no, I acted too quickly, I do want it, I can just add it back again. So I can click on add category, description word, that's the only one that's not available in the scene, and it's added it back in. Pretty cool. I can do the same with relationships as well. But search, let's go to the good stuff now. So what I can do is I can create a thing called a search phrase. So let's do a really simple example. So let's say I want to create a search phrase that will bring back all wines that start with the letter, whatever letter I give it. Let's give that a go. So let's do that. So I'm going to do find wines that start with var. Search phrase, find wines that start with a certain letter / phrase. Oh, I don't think I can do hyphens with a name. Do that. So this is going to description, and then I can specify my Cypher query. So my Cypher query is going to be something along the lines of match W wine where, let's do this nicely, where W dot name starts with var return W dot W, return a node. In fact, let's go a little bit further. Let's make this really safe. To lower, just in case somebody specifies it lowercase. to lower, return that. So not what that's going to do is going to take whatever letter I've specified in my search phrase. It's going to return that. Return the wines that meet that, and do that. So let's leave it at that, and then I'm going to show you what else we can do to make this more exciting. So let's do that. I'm going to save this. You notice here it's got a description on my search phrase. Find wines that start with a certain letter or phrase. Let me close that out. And what I can do now is if I start typing my search phrase, which was find wines, do you see it pops up? So that's my search phrase. So I just click that. I'm going to specify a parameter. Let's say wines that start with, I don't know, B. I'm going to run that, press enter to run my query. There are no wines that start with B. Shock, horror. Let's pick another letter. W. Oh, really? Oh. That can't be right. There must be a wine that starts with P. Hang on, let's bring back some wines. This is exciting, isn't it? Bring back some wine. Alright, so stuff begins with T and S. Alright, let's clear the scene. Let's try again. Let's try again. Alright, so we know stuff begins with T. I've probably miswritten this query. 1 moment. Let's just quickly check that I've not done something silly. It is possible. Starts with S. Oh, you know what I've done? I know what it is. I don't think we call it name, do we? I think it's value is what we name, or title. It's title. That's where I went wrong. That's why it doesn't work. There we go. It's all good. Right, let's go back. We know what the problem is. It's title. Right, let's save this. Start again. So, find wines that start with T. Let's run that. There you go. Look at that. Super cool query I can now run to find me wines that begin with T. Let's make it exciting. We've got one that could begin with Tum. So let's do that. Let's do this. I can say wines that start with Tum. There we go. Four wines begin with Tum. Hello. Tum water, Tum water, Tum water. Oh, this is interesting. Right, sorry, I'm going to go off on a slight tangent now. Let's find out. I bet these all come from the same winery, don't they? From winery. You know what I should have done? I should have just selected them all and done it at the same time. They're all going to be from the same winery, aren't they? There you go, look at that. Cool. Right, so that was a super simple search phrase. We didn't have to do it like this. We could have probably actually sort of done it like it contains, but let's clear the scene. Right, let's take Kevin's query. I am going to copy this in its entirety. So let's have a quick look what happens to it in browser. Putting you on the spot here. So let's have a quick peek at what's going on. No, don't worry, we'll fix that. Not a problem at all. So we've got match P points has points. So for matching a wine that's got 100 points and it's variety. And you want to find the taster who tasted the wines that scored 100 points. That's all right. Rates wine. That's when you want the rate. Yeah, tasted wine. So it's rates wine. There you go. It's all good. I knew what you meant. That's all good. We were all thinking the same thing. Okay, so what we're going to return is we're going to return the taster maybe. Can I do it with rates wine? Yep, I've corrected it already there. So yes, you could have. I think you could have done that. So let's have a look. We go up to variety. So I assume you want to have the taster and the variety. So let's just quickly do this. So v dot Gabe, I think it is. We'll find out in a second. No. Right, okay, let's see what's going on here. Let's check our data model. Get rid of all of this. Oh, I need to run it again. That's all good. Right. Let's do call db.schema. So we have got, let's have another look at your query, Kevin. So we have got points. Yep, so wine has points, then wine has variety. Yep, goes out to variety. And then we want to do wine. Oh no, that's why. Look, we got this the wrong way around. That makes sense because the taster rated the wine. Right, so let's run this. There we go. Look, there's your query in all of its glory, Kevin. It's working. We have got our... Oh no, it's the bane of my life. Red blend, white blend. What is this? I don't know what blend means. Anyway, we've already spent much time. We've spent much too much time on my plight with the blends, and check out a couple of weeks ago when we did some cool tricks with that. Anyway, I digress. We have got the variety name, and we have got the taster name. So this is the query. So we want to know. The name of the variety and the taster name. But obviously this is Bloom. We don't want to return table value. So let's turn this into something fun. So what would we want to return? We probably would want to return the wine. Why not? Probably want to put it on our Christmas list, what wines we want to get. So let's bring back the wine. We're probably going to bring back the taster, and we're probably going to bring back the variety. So that conveniently, variety goes to wine and taster goes to wine. So we're going to have those nodes, and this will bring back a nice pretty... This is what we want to show in Bloom, don't we? This is what we want, and we want to put a little thing on there so we can adjust the score. So, right, there we go. Oh, those of you who are waiting for the sandbox link, that's just appeared in the chat. So if you want to have a play with Bloom, you have got the Bloom sandbox on there. You've got the blank sandbox, I believe, has Bloom on there as well. So have fun with that. It'll be good fun. Anyway, right, so this is what we want to bring back. So let's take this query and let's turn it into a search phrase. So I am going to copy that. So there's going to be a little hurdle with this in Bloom. So bear with me and I'll show you what's going on. So let's create a new search phrase. So go to search, you're going to add a search phrase. Let's paste in the query. So what are we asking for? We are find details for wine with score of score. Why not? Okay, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. I'm creating a search phrase. So we're going to create a search phrase because you think about it, if we were unleashing our amazing wine data set to the world, and people, we've got these sort of massive wine fans, and they don't necessarily want to learn. Whilst we all know graph databases are super cool and Cypher is fun, maybe they don't want to learn Cypher. Maybe they just want to go off and explore their wine data and they don't want to do that stuff. So what we could do is we could say, well, actually, there's a bunch of things that wine connoisseurs are always going to ask. They always want to know about the wines that scored 100. And as you've rightly said, Kevin, they're not necessarily, what they want to know. They're probably going to know, well, if a wine scored 100, as you've suggested, I want to know what was the name of that wine. I want to know who reviewed it because maybe they were reviewed. We remember Roger, the prolific wine taster who tasted some, was it 120,000 wines or some crazy number of wines? Anyway, so maybe we want to know, maybe we really rate Roger because he tried so many wines. And we want to know what the variety was because, that wine may have scored 100, 100 out of 100, but if you really don't like Shiraz, you're probably not going to want to try that wine. So these so we want to do that, but we don't want to leave this poor user to write a query. They just want to look at the wine. So this is how we can use the search phrases, and we can put parameters in them so people can ask these questions. So let's have two goes. We're going to do this one, which is going to ask for the specific score, and then we're going to change it so that it does the score and above. So let's do this one to begin with. I am now going to change the value here to score. Now, I think we may need to, we're going to have to tell here that this parameter is an integer and not a string. So you see here, I've just said that score is integer. We can have more than one parameter, but we're going to do the one to begin with. So here we go. So we've said that score is an integer. We've got the thing here. Now, I believe this is just going to return node. So we may need to do a little bit of funky stuff. So let's just do this to begin with. So let's save this. I'm just going to call this details, not fetails, details. And we call this find wine details of a certain review score. It's descriptive enough. So let's save that. So there we go. We've got our next search phrase. If I click on here, I can remind myself what it was called. So it's called details. Brilliant. Right. So let's do this. So details. And you go, I've put the word and it goes, search phrase. All right, so let's click this. Look, we've got indexes and descriptions, and there is one that begins with descriptions. That's fine. I digress. Let's do this. We want a score of 100. And we're going to run this, and it's going to bring back these nodes. So as I suspected, unfortunately, this only brings back the nodes. So in browser, let me just quickly go into browser. And for those of you wondering, but hang on a minute, we've got relationships here. If I click on the cog on browser, you'll notice somewhere in here we have a little tick box right at the bottom that says connect to result nodes. And what that basically does is you're effectively telling browser, if there is a relationship between the nodes that I have returned in my query, please show me the relationships. Whereas in Bloom says, no, you've got to specifically specify what you want to visualize, relationships and or when you do a search phrase. So let's do that. Let's go back in here. Let's go back to our search phrase. And okay, so let's have a look what we're bringing back. So we need to put some relationships in here. So let's put in, I'm really going out to town with these amazing names. So go for R1 and actually, we don't need one there, do we? Go for R1 and R2. I know, you are absolutely amazed at my amazing naming conventions. Please don't do this. Pick more sensible ones. So R1, R2. So I'm now saying return all these nodes and return the relationships between them. So hopefully I save this. Let's go back. And if I rerun this query, okay, that's all right, I'm being lazy. Let's do it again. So let's do details for wine certain score of 100. If I do this now, there we go. Now we have those relationships, and that is now useful information to us. Hey, right, you know what? I think we need some more icons, don't we? So let's do this. So we've got a picture of a person. We've got a person here. I mean, we've got a better one. What else have we got? Ooh. Are any better ones? I think we're probably being optimistic for a person holding a glass of wine somehow. That's all right. That's good enough, isn't it? We know what that means. Let's do variety. Please have a bunch of grapes. Oh, look at that. It's almost as if somebody knew we were doing stuff with a wine data set and they made sure they had the right icons. So there we go, look at that. So we've taken your query, Kevin, and we've turned it into a search phrase so that somebody can keep running it. So if we wanted to go, well, actually, I want to look for wines that scored 99 points. I don't believe anyone who scored 100. I only believe in the 99s. There we go. Look at that. So we have brought them up. Interestingly, oh yes, we know why this is, because we did the points to persons. This makes sense why we will have some of these weird disconnects. Because remember, Roger has tasted a lot of wine. So that's why he's linked. Interestingly, have a look at this. I've just spotted something here. And I know it's linked by the style of the wine. So there you go. The blasted Bordeaux style red blend. But there we go. So you can see what's going on there. So that's pretty cool. I like that. So there you go. We've done a search phrase. So let's take that search phrase and we're just going to adjust it ever so slightly. And I'm going to say, well, actually, I want to score. I don't want to do just one score. I want to do a range of points. So let's make a slight change to that query. So let's pop over, search, score range, because that's what we're going to do. For y is score of score to score, and I'm going to call it score 2. And I'll call it score 1. And what you'll notice is it's popped up. So it goes, aha, you've specified more than one parameter, which we have. So we can say what we want. So we know these are both going to be integers. And I'm now going to change this query ever so slightly. Because what we want to say, actually I'll change it here. Whoops, where p dot value is equal to greater than score 1 and p dot value is less than or equal to, oh, I've got these the wrong way around, haven't I? Greater than or equal to that and less than or equal to score 2. Here's to hoping that the scores are the right way around. I'm pretty certain we could probably write some Cypher to make sure that they're the right way around, but not now. Okay, so there we go. We've got our range. I'm now going to get rid of this because we don't need this. And there we go. We've now adapted our query. So let's save this and see what happens. So, details of wines with a score of 99 to 100. Bring back all those wines, and there we go. And now we've created a wine range, so you can see how really powerful that configuration is. So that was pretty fun. I think we've covered most of the stuff in there. So we've got another new feature in Bloom which we haven't covered, which is we can do hierarchies. Now, have we got hierarchy type data? We do. So what you can do is I can press this activate hierarchical layout. And what that will do, and this works quite nicely with what the data we've got, but it will try and structure the data that you've done as a tree. And this kind of makes sense for this one here, because if you think about it, we have got a taster. A taster tastes one or more wines, and a wine will have a certain variety. And what we could do here to add a bit of fun to this, so let's pick Joe. So what we can do, I'm just going to quickly start writing my query, and then we can bring it back to Joe, because I can bring back the wine variety names as well, so we can have a nice tree going on. So let's do that, and then we're going to finish off now. So if you've got any questions and you want me to answer live quickly, pop them in the chat whilst I do the hierarchy stuff. So let's go with points value. I assume that's going to be 99. Yeah, why not? Points value 99, and then we've got the taster. So actually I could probably just do Joe. And then I want the wine. Actually I can click on these things, can't I? Then I want the variety. And then I want the variety name. So that's my query. So I'm going to come back to in a second. I'm first going to clean the scene. So clear the scene. And now let's run this and get a nice hierarchy. Hey, look at that. 300 no. Oh my goodness. Right. Are we saying that Joe likes to rate a lot of wines as highly? Oh. So let's have a look what we've got. So we've got 1 point. So what was it? We brought back 240. He rated 240. Oh no, I know what's happened here. It's because we've Joe's rated a lot of wines. That's what's happened there. Okay, right, hang on, let's see what we're going to do with this. Let's do, who hasn't rated so many wines? Actually, you know what? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take your query, Kevin, and I'm going to adjust it ever so slightly so that we do variety name as well, so that we can generate a nice hierarchy view. So let me clear the scene. Let's go back to the search phrase. And we're also going to return the variety name. So what way around, let me just quickly just remind myself what direction variety name goes. Oh, 1 moment, please. So we said Oh, it is component. Okay, right, cool. So we are saying it's this way around. Oh, wrong bracket type. We need to get the relationship as well, don't we? So I'm going to call this R3. You will be shocked to hear. Right, R2, R1, R3, and Bn. I'm going to save this. We're going to get a nice, pretty graph. So let's go with details. Wine that scores 100 and 100. No compromise. Let's bring back, and look at that. So I've now got this in the tree structure, and this beautifully brings back the structure. So the only slightly frustrating thing here is that I was kind of hoping it was going to split them out, but I think we've just ended up with wines that only have one variety. So let me change the score to 85 to 85. So let's clear the scene. I want to get a pretty hierarchy graph. Let's do this. 300. Oh my goodness. It's too many wines. All right, let's do this. 98. Oh, that's asking for trouble. Clear the scene. Right. I'm just going to end up having to find a wine that's got more than one variety, but you get the idea. I think we've just been unlucky that we've found wines that literally are just one. So Shiraz, Toka. Oh, that's going to be that's a dessert one, isn't it? Muscadel. I think that's another one as well, isn't it? Ooh, anyway, you get the idea. So this is super cool. So we've not, hasn't been the most ordered tour of Bloom, but we've had fun. We've asked a bunch of wine-based questions, and I didn't write very much Cypher at all.